Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we have yet another beer that is half Spanish, half Swedish. There seems to be quite a lot of these days. And for this one, on the Spanish side of things, we've got a brewery who I've never tried anything from, so really interested in this one. So we're going to go to Barcelona once again in Catalunya, and we're having a taste of my first ever beer from Garage Beer Company, who seem to be getting a lot of their beers over to Scandinavia these days. So this beer is called Woozy. It comes in at 8.5%, so it's kind of getting onto the edge of the territory where it's a double IPA, and it's a collaboration that they did with Stigbergets, probably one of the best known Swedish breweries these days, who are from Gothenburg, Göteborg, as you would say in Swedish, and should be a really interesting one this. I think this beer was rated well into the 90s when I checked it out on Rate Beer earlier on, so it should be a really interesting one. This one's hopped with Citra, Simcoe and Laurel hops. Laurel hops isn't one I've come across all that often so far, but it should be a really interesting beer, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. This was another one of the small partiers from Stigbergets back on the 3rd of August, so yeah, looking forward to this. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries involved here. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that hopefully I can do from Garage Beer Company. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, like I said. There's a link there to my other reviews that I've already done from Stigbergets. This must be, you know, review number 7 or 8 involving those guys. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Spanish beers that I've reviewed for you, and another one for all the Swedish beers. Those are constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, on to my brewery notes then. So to tell you a little bit about Garage Beer Company first, since they are the home brewer, if you like. These guys brew their beers in these kind of tall boy cans actually. So as I mentioned to you earlier, Garage Beer Company are based in Barcelona, and they were founded back in 2015 by Alberto Zambolin and James Welsh, who founded a beer bar together. But the two first met during a brewing course that was taught by Steve Huxley, who's a Liverpudlian that apparently moved back to Barcelona in the 1970s. He's really just very, very well known actually. But James is English and comes from a tech sort of IT type background, while Alberto is Italian and he worked in advertising and design. But the two managed to set up their brewery in only a few months, and it can be found in the Example district of the city, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Probably not, but they have there a Bulgarian brew kit that can produce 1200 litres of beer per time, and they're also very interested in art and things like this. So the brewery and bar are always hosting various different events and displaying lots of different artwork from local artists. In 2016 though, they did a round of crowdfunding, and I think they're the first brewery in Spain actually that have done this kind of crowdfunding. But they actually opened up a new production facility, and from there they've been able to export their beer all across different countries. I think they said they were exporting across the EU, and they've managed to get some of their beer into the US as well. And as I say, you know, I think they've got them in Norway. I think some of it's getting to Denmark as well. But I think Systembolaget in Sweden was the first market that they got when it comes to the Nordic countries too. But their beers seem to be really quite highly rated. There's another one of these coming up. I think it's Beerbibliotek or Brewski that they've collaborated with on the next one, so we're getting quite a few of these beers in Sweden, and it seems to be that the Spanish breweries have a good connection with Systembolaget actually, so it's kind of a good place to be in Sweden if you want to try Spanish beer, of course, which is kind of quite funny because it's quite difficult to get Spanish beer back in Scotland. So yeah, but Garage Beer Company, as I say, they seem to be really well rated, interesting company, and hopefully we can see more of these guys. I do need to go to Barcelona at some point and just try all the different breweries around there, because it's meant to be a very, very good beer city these days. I think I've reviewed Edge and a couple of others already from Barcelona, but definitely somewhere I want to check out, and hopefully I can do that in the fairly near future. But that's all you really need to know about Garage Beer Company for the moment. Check out their website in the description below, and you can follow them on Facebook and keep up to date with what's going on. They seem to be quite a prolific brewery, and they're always doing different things as well. So anyway, on to the Swedish side of the brewery then, on to Stigbergets. So you've seen me review Stigbergets a number of times before. So as I've told you before, Stigbergets are based in Gothenburg, Göteborg you should say in Swedish, and they were founded by two guys. So this was Nils Hultkrantz and Richard Simonsson, and the pair owned two bars that shared one kitchen. So this is Bar Kino and the Hagebjörns Cafe, both of which are located on Linnegatan in the city, and they opened back in 2007. So originally the idea was to brew a few beers that they could sell in the bars, and this led to them actually kegging and selling their beers to other pubs, and eventually to bottling the beers, which started back in November of 2014. So the original beers that they were producing were mainly English and German styles, but of course more recently they've been expanding into the more kind of hoppy American beer styles, and that's really where they've made their name. So they started out with a 1,000 litre brew kit from Slovakia, but they later upgraded to a 2,000 litre JTM system from Denmark in December of 2015. But apparently they wanted to double this capacity whenever they had the chance to do that, and I think they might have done that already. But Niels and Richard are joined at the brewery by two brewers and three other people who deal with the likes of logistics, packaging and other things as well. But the original head brewer was Ole Anderson, who was one of the co-owners of OO Brewing, but he's since left to focus solely on OO Brewing, and he's been replaced by Barnaby Struve, who was the vice president, or one of the vice presidents of Three Floyds Brewery over in Indiana in America. So a very, very good brewery. These guys, probably their most famous beer is the GBG Beer Week was the one that really kind of set them off on their path, I guess. But Amazing Haze is a very, very popular one as well. Muddle seems to have come back and is one of the regular beers in Systembolaget now. But Stigbergets were one of the ones in the Scandinavian countries that really set off the whole kind of haze craze, if you like. They were one of the guys who were doing this very, very well. And Amazing Haze, probably still one of the best Nordic IPAs that you're going to get. I mean, it really is a top quality beer, and it's very easy to get now. And of course, the name of the one from Omnipollo has gone right out of my head actually. But yeah, it's Stigbergets are one of the Swedish craft breweries that you definitely want to check out. But that's all you really need to know about them. So check out the brewery website in the description below and see how you get on. Follow them on Facebook. They're always releasing new beers as well, and they're doing a lot of collaborations like this one. So yeah, that's all you need to know about both of the breweries. As I say, check out the brewery websites and you can find out anything else that I've not mentioned. But let's go on to the tasting of this beer itself. So like I mentioned to you, this one is an 8.5% IPA. I guess you probably could term this one a double IPA at that strength. I guess the border between IPA and double IPA is around 8%, but there you can see there's the nice artwork on this one. So this guy is hopped with Laurel, Citra and Simcoe hops. Citra and Simcoe, we know those, they've been in a lot of different beers. Laurel hops is one that I've had a few beers, I've had a few beers that have had Laurel in them, but not all that many, so I did a little bit of research on the Laurel hop. So this is a Yakima Valley hop. It was previously known as HBC 291, and it's supposed to give a really kind of distinctive lemony citrus and dark fruit flavour, but it's also got some kind of floral, earthy and slightly herbal qualities to it as well. So I'm really interested to see how that goes along with the Citra and Simcoe, which as we know are very fruit forward hops. But nicely presented beer, this one. There you can see it gives you some of the stats of the beer on the back of the can, but yeah, nicely presented. This one is a 440ml can, so it's another one of these kind of beers that are one of these ones that's based on the American system. I don't know why so many breweries are doing that rather than just giving half litres, but let's get this guy out and we'll get on to the tasting then. So yeah, you can smell some of that lovely passion fruit from the Simcoe coming out actually on this as you pour it. But yeah, look at that. That looks lovely. So yeah, as you can see and as you would expect from an IPA, it's poured a nice kind of bright but hazy, and I'd say that one's definitely a sort of yellowy colour. That one's definitely a kind of hazy blonde golden type colour. That you can see there's a solid 3/4 finger of a frothy, I would say perfect white head on this one, which again is what you'd expect. But it's really the Simcoe that's jumping out of the aroma for me of this one. I can smell that passion fruit on this beer a mile away. It really is just dominating the aroma actually. The Simcoe is such a distinctive hop for that. But yeah, as you can see, if I put my fingers behind the glass, the beer is pretty damn hazy. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and a few little ones heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But overall, it looks pretty much as you would expect from an IPA. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on with this one. Ooh. Yeah, when you go a bit closer into it, you do start to get the other things out of the beer. So yeah, you can pick up with this one as well there's the mangoes, and the mangoes really are the kind of characteristic of the Citra, I would say. So you've got the nice passion fruits there. The passion fruit for me is dominating the aroma of this one. Passion fruit definitely dominating the aroma. So that's the Simcoe starting to come out, and you can detect that the mangoes are mixing in with that. So the Citra and the Simcoe are really mixing well together. I'm not getting too much in the way of a lemony quality, which was, you know, as I say, that was what I was expecting of the Laurel. But I will say, you can pick up a little bit of that earthy kind of herbal quality to it. You know, the earthy herbal quality is quite distinctive in this beer, and that's not something that you'd normally get just from the Citra and the Simcoe. Normally, when it comes to the kind of, if you say like the base components of the hop, because you always get a bit of floral and kind of grassy aromaticity from any hop pretty much. When it comes to that sort of thing, usually the Simcoe and the Citra are quite grassy. The Simcoe I find can be a little bit floral sometimes, but for me, the aroma in this beer is coming out a little bit more. You can definitely detect that sort of slightly earthy herbal quality to this beer, but I'm not getting too much of the lemony quality that you're supposed to get from the Laurel. And this is what it's all about. It is all about just kind of, when you find a new hop or something like that, it is all about just you know, teaching yourself about it and saying, alright, this is what you should get, this is what you actually get out of it. But for me, that earthy herbal thing, I can definitely detect that, but not so much in the way of lemony notes. But yeah, there's a bit of grassy and floral character to this beer, not too much, I would say. You can pick up a little bit of an oaty, a kind of creamy oaty quality, and a little bit of wheaty note to the beer as well, and a little bit of a kind of sweeter biscuit, which is nice. But it pretty much has the aroma that you would expect of one of these double IPAs. So as I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in. It does smell really quite nice, this one. So yeah, just take a little bit of time and enjoy that aroma before you get stuck into it. But let's have a taste of this one then. So this one's the Woozy, a double IPA, 8.5% hop with Citra, Simcoe and Laurel hops, all American hops, from Garage Beer Company in Barcelona, a collaboration with Stigbergets Bryggeri from Gothenburg here in Sweden. Let's get stuck into this one then. Slange, skål, salud. Oh yeah. Right, that's a really nice beer, this one. This is one of these ones that kind of, to me, this one, you know, it's not a new, it doesn't quite come across as a New England IPA. This is more one of these ones that's a slightly hazy West Coast IPA for me, and that's good. You know, I've said quite a few times, I do miss the West Coast IPAs. There's all this kind of haze craze these days, but to me this one kind of comes across a little bit more as more of a West Coast IPA, just in terms of the mouthfeel and the way the flavours are coming out. But it's a really quite nice beer, this, I will say that about it. Yeah, and this is one of the things, I've said this numerous times, the southern European countries, or the Mediterranean countries, you know, all very, very good at winemaking and stuff like that. And it always seems to be the case that when you get one of these countries and they start, you know, putting their expertise towards brewing beer, they always do really well with it. I mean, the Greek beers that I've reviewed recently have been awesome. Spain has been doing great beers for a long time now. Italy are doing some great stuff as well. And you know, Portugal's starting to get on that bandwagon too. Slovenia, and I think, you know, Croatia are starting to get into it as well. The quality of the craft beers that you're getting out of Southern Europe these days are pretty good, and Garage Beer Company, from what I gather, are really quite highly regarded in the craft beer scene. But this is a nice beer. So as I always say, just take a little bit of time, sugar it around your palate and let your whole mouth adjust. But yeah, for me, malt base on this one is pretty much kind of what you'd expect. There's a little bit of a biscuity quality to the beer, but you can feel there's that nice bready character that just blankets the middle of your tongue. On top of that, you start to get a little bit of you can feel there's a little bit of a grainy quality to the beer. I'm not it's interesting because I was getting a little bit of an oaty note out of the aroma of this one, but there's not really much of that in the beer itself at all. But yeah, nice kind of biscuity sweetness. If you go right down the middle of your tongue, there is a little bit of a biscuity sweetness to this one, just right down the middle line of the tongue. There's maybe a little hint of caramel, but mainly this malt base is quite light. A little bit of a kind of bready quality, maybe a little touch of wheat or something like that, but not too heavy, and a little bit of the biscuity note. And as you go further and further into the aftertaste, the malt base does just get a little touch grainy, I would say. And on the hoppy side of things, it is pretty much kind of what you would expect. Back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness there, which I'm guessing is amplified a little bit because of the laurel. You always just get a little touch of earthiness, but I would say it's a little bit more prominent than it's been in other beers where it's just been Citra and Simcoe. You can feel there's a little touch of that herbal quality as you move further forward along the sides of the palate too, but then as you come towards the front corners of the palate, the beer's distinctively more kind of floral, and it's slightly spicy actually there as well, which I'm guessing that's the effect of the laurel, because as I was saying earlier, Citra and Simcoe, from what I remember, they don't quite have that spiciness to them. There is a little bit of floral character, but it's just a little bit smoother, but then round the very front curve of the palate, the beer is just nice and light and grassy, and just behind the front curve of the tongue, of course, that's where you get that little oily bubble, where those nice fruity juicy esters start to come out of the beer. And the way the fruits come out of this one is really nice. What I will say, I wasn't picking up the lemony quality so much in the aroma of this beer, but in the flavour, it really does come out. It's almost like the lemon, that oily bubble behind the front curve of your tongue, it's really like the lemon is forming the kind of linchpin of the beer. It's the thing that's kind of holding it all together when it comes to these fruity esters. On top of that, of course, you do get the passion fruits that you'd expect from the Simcoe. And you get a little bit of the mango as well. And as you go further and further into the aftertaste, I would say that the lemon is kind of lingering there. So it's interesting that in the aroma, for me, this beer was distinctively Simcoe, but in the flavour, it really seems to be the laurel that's starting to jump out of this one. The lemony flavours for me are quite strong. That could well be because it's a hop I'm not really that used to, so maybe I'm focusing on it a little bit more, so bear that in mind. But I would say the lemony flavours in this one are quite prominent. So that laurel hop, it really does have all those kind of characteristics that I was talking about. It was, I think it was, it was lemon. I'm not so much getting dark fruit from it, but it's got that herbal, earthy kind of quality to it as well, which is really interesting. It adds an interesting dimension to the IPA. But as you're going further and further into the aftertaste to this one, on the fruity side of things, lemony, the passion fruit starts to come out a little bit later, and you can feel the mango mixing in with that. And as you go further into the aftertaste, it's the kind of lemon limey notes that are sitting there, I would say. There's a little bit of an almost limey quality to this one. Normally with Citra you can get things like lychees and gooseberries and stuff like that, but I think because the laurel's there, the lemon kind of limey side that you can sometimes get from the Citra is just coming out a little bit more too. But I mean, overall, in terms of the flavour, this is a nice beer. It's quite a, if you like quite strong fruity qualities, if you like the likes of the, strong grapefruit and passion fruit and things like that, this is one that I think you're going to enjoy. Those that like grapefruit IPAs, I think you'll probably like this one, because the lemony flavours in this have that same strength, if you like, or that same pungency that you'd get from the likes of a grapefruit IPA. But for me, a very, very nice beer, and it's a good one to try. It's my first one from Garage Beer Company. In terms of the mouthfeel of this beer then, I would say mid-bodied, carbonation's quite smooth on this one. As I was saying, the mouthfeel overall I think is a little bit more oily. This beer did have a little bit of haze to it, but I would say that overall it's a little bit more of a West Coast IPA in terms of its thing. I'm just pouring the rest in to make sure there wasn't like sediment or something like that that was stopping the haze coming out. But for me, I would say this one, it has a little bit of that kind of East Coast flavour to it, but it is, to me, this one just seems a little bit more like a West Coast IPA. It doesn't really matter where it fits in the category as long as it's a good beer, and it is a good beer. There's a good bit of hoppy bitterness to it, nice kind of smooth malt base, but it's got a little bit of sweetness in there, and as I say, the fruity qualities to this one are particularly interesting. So if it's the fruity qualities you really go for when it comes to an IPA, I think this is one that you definitely want to try, because it's just a little bit different from a lot of the other things that I've had. But yeah, overall a really nice beer, and I'm glad that I got to try this one. So let's leave it at that. So yeah, this was the Woozy, a double IPA with Citra, Simcoe and Laurel, one of the newer hops that I've not had too many encounters with from America, but a really nice beer, and I definitely recommend this one for those who enjoy the likes of grapefruit IPAs, but it's more of a lemon flavour you get from this one. But a really nice beer, and I'm glad that I was able to review this one for you. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Garage Beer Company as well. You will see me review another one from these guys in the near future. They've got another collaboration being released as a small part here, but thanks again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. So yeah, the Woozy double IPA collaboration between Garage Beer Company from Barcelona and Stigbergets Bryggeri from Gothenburg here in Sweden. Until the next time, it's landed just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Check out my social media, and I'll catch you guys later. Salud, skål.